Katie, thank you so much for joining me on Books on Book Talk. I really appreciate you coming on. Would you like to tell everybody who you are at home, what your social media accounts are, what it is you do behind the accounts, who you are, and what it is we need to know about Katie Murphy?
I am absolutely honoured to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Aww.
So basically, my day job, I'm a chartered accountant, which is, yeah,
Okay.
so it is like a very like high, fast-paced environment.
Yeah.
But obviously I'm here to talk about my book talk, not about that. So I actually originally started TikTok, I would say probably 2020, 2021, just like at the
Okay.
peak of COVID when lockdown kind of came in. And
Hmm.
I actually originally did not start posting books. So I had like an obsession with the Vampire Diaries, the originals, and I kind of just made like kind of posts on that, kind of
Yeah.
gained a small following from that. And then obviously my mental health just went very, very badly. I just, when life slowed down, I was just used to a fast-paced environment and I had
Yeah.
nothing to occupy my time. So one of my friends I actually met through like the community on TikTok at the time, she recommended me to read ACOTAR. And I feel like that's where it starts. Like
Okay.
everyone asks you to recommend or to start with ACOTAR.
Yeah.
Um, so kind of started with that. And then obviously because I started reading it, I think you know the way that your phone always listens to you, basically that people who started posting like book content started coming up. And
Okay.
like at that time, obviously I did not like showing my face on social media. Like, and that was around the time where like, you know, slides like were just a big thing. Like there
Yeah.
was no like blogging. Like this was very, very early book.
Oh, so you were kind of like a faceless account first, were you?
Yeah, I did it. Like
Ah.
I sometimes when I'm bored, like I'd scroll back to see what like my very, very earlier videos are. And I just laugh at them and I'm just kind of like, oh my God. But I actually only started posting my face, I would say about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. And I remember the first time I did a speaking video that like I just don't know what it is. People are obsessed with the Irish accent. I don't know what it is,
Yeah.
but it's just and like I obviously did miss this at the beginning, but I am from Cork. So like I feel like my accent does come off a bit strong sometimes, but then when I talk to
Mm.
some people, they're like, oh, it's really strong. And then other people are like, no, it's actually kind of okay. It's a bit weak. And so I'm just in between. I'm just in between that. Like, so,
Okay.
um, but so obviously, like bringing it just a bit back earlier in my journey. So I obviously started off and then just like similar to like how people are now, there was a lot of like book kind of groups and like chats and
Okay.
whatever. And I just like decided, look, I'm going to put myself out there a bit more because like obviously when you start reading Avatar, that's how you kind of get hooked, and
Yeah.
you start looking into like other things like that. So I did start in the fantasy kind of genre.
Yeah.
So then I went on, and I will say this is probably one of my god tier books. Even though I don't like the way the series is going at the moment, it will always be my favorite, which is From Blood and Ash. So yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay. Okay. I
yeah.
DNF'd it at the third book.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. That like the early books, I
Okay.
absolutely love. I do like the prequel series as well because like if you're, I only finished the most recent book like a couple of weeks ago. It took me a good while to get through it, but I feel like the story is dragging. It could have been a trilogy. That's the way I see
Okay.
it. Um, and basically, when I obviously entered into like one of the chats, it was always a questions like, "What are you reading right now? What's your favorite
Yeah.
book?" That's how you open the conversation. And I actually connected with a girl in there, so it's actually the girl that I share a bookstagram with, and she lives in the UK, and we kind of developed a friendship, and I actually flew over to meet her. Yeah,
Oh, amazing.
yeah, so I flew over to meet her. I would say maybe 2022 around then.
Wow.
And like ever since then, like we talk every day. We've been on holidays together. We've been to book events together. Like it's anytime if I'm over in like London, we'd pop each other a message and see if we're like around to meet up for like just over an
Oh
hour or
my
two.
God. That is a prime example of what this community can do.
Yeah.
Imagine you found a best friend. Like, that's incredible. Like,
Well, to be fair, I feel like her, like, because I was staying with her parents, so like her mom and my mom were literally on the phone to each other to like make
Oh
sure that we
God.
were real people. And I remember like she's so
Oh.
small, so like I'm about 5'9" ish, and she's definitely about like 5'3", 5'4". Like so, her sister actually took a video of us meeting for the first time, and I'm literally towering over her. But it's so weird because like that was our first time. Like obviously we chat, like we text every day and we used to FaceTime each other,
Yeah.
and like, obviously we knew we were real people. That was the whole point of it. But when we met in person, it was like we were friends for years. And
Wow.
it's still like that to this day. I mightn't see her like for a year on year, but like it's just like it's just that one friend that like you meet up and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, so how have you been? And you just like keep chatting like normal. So that's the way we
Yeah.
are. Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually
Me
messaged
and
her
Jessica
about
were
it.
like that. Yeah, me and Jessica were like that. I met a friend like that as well through the book talk community. Jessica, I'm like that. Like, I might only see her once or twice a year, but like we talk like nearly every day, every second day. Do you know, like, and I think it's amazing that the book community can do that. It's like you found your friend that like you wish you had when you were back in secondary school.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
even though I like my friends, like there's one girl I'm really, really close to back in secondary school, but she doesn't read books. So, and I think sometimes I scare her when I'm telling her about what's going on half the time. Like she's like, "What?" And I'm like, "I'm sorry." But I do have recommended a few books for her, and like what now in my college friend group, a lot of those girls are starting to read as well. So like one of my friends finished Throne of Glass, and like yeah, so like it's always those questions. And my other friend, like they all started with Akatar as well, but my friend, she recently like did Throne of Glass, and she was reading Kingdom of Ash, and I was like, in your head when you know what's coming. And I think obviously I was like, so how did you find it, like that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I even got my nan to read Throne of Glass.
Did you?
Yeah, and she like cleared it in a week.
Oh my God, what did your nanny think of Throne of Glass?
She liked it. She
Oh my
thought it was
God,
good.
Katie.
Like I explained it to her because like obviously she started reading like just like normally, and obviously I'd give her like kind of like YA kind of like normal books because like she wouldn't be into anything like more than that.
She
But
wouldn't be able for the spice, like.
no, no, no. Like she read The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood, and that only has two
Oh,
chapters. And she was kind of saying it was a bit like out there. And I was like, it's only two chapters, but it is kind of a bit out there for that. You know what I mean? But it's a great
yeah.
book, and that's why I recommended
Yeah.
it to her. But yeah, she did. She enjoyed the Throne of Glass series.
Oh, I
So
love Throne of Glass. It's my top tier. It's my top tier series. I love Sarah J. Maas. Like anything Sarah J. Maas. Like I've tattoo dedicated to her on the back of my leg, and I absolutely adore her. I adore Throne of Glass. I think it's just a masterpiece, like an absolute masterpiece. It just absolutely incredible.
yeah.
What was it? What was it that actually like inspired you to start creating content then in dark romance and fantasy?
So stuck to fantasy first, and like
Okay.
kind of more fantasy rom-coms. So I kind of
Yeah.
played it safe. And then the basically how I got into dark romance, and I think like if anyone is following me on social media, they know I post about this very regularly. I got
Yeah.
into dark romance, obviously starting with Devil's Night series. I literally have a tattoo devoted to that,
Yeah.
which is Lapel de Vide, which is the Call of the Void. And I started off with kind of that. Then I fell down the Rena Kent rabbit hole, which I am still in and I'm not getting out. And then after that, so it was basically Rena Kent has a world where like it's kind of on the mafia side. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, I didn't know like that there was actually books like on this kind of dark side. Because like mafia romance is the original kind of dark romance, I would believe. You know what I mean? Like you have a
Yeah.
man that would burn the world for her. Like, and it's set in the modern day. It's not set in a fantasy world where like people have magical powers and whatever. It's a modern day thing. So I kind of fell down the mafia rabbit hole. That's how I kind of fell into dark romance category. How I started creating it, I honestly don't know. I think it was just more of a push where
Yeah.
I started off faceless, and then I think I did like I think I got like a special edition that I bought from like Fairy Loot. I think it was the Anna Wong's like twisted Fairy Loot that I got, or else it was the it was it's by Holly Black, but it's not the Crew of Prince series. It's the sequel to the Crew of Prince.
The
Um
night. No, it's not the night in the dark. What's it called?
it's like the heir of something. I can't remember, but it's a duology.
Oh,
And so
yeah.
it was either the Anna Wong series or it was the Holly Black series that I got from Fairy Loot and I posted it, but I had my face in it and I was kind of talking about it, and I got really positive comments, and like it just made me be like, oh, so people actually like what I'm doing or what I'm saying. But I kind of just started with like, having my face in the video, having the quote there, and then kind of having like, like kind of like an introduction to the quote. That's how I kind of started. Now, as I'm going through 2026, one of my goals is to do more speaking videos, and I did post one the other day, which I was very proud of. So I think that's what I want to grow on a bit more, where I want to do more
Yeah.
speaking videos and not just post the quote videos on their own anymore. Like I want to do more of like a certain trope or a certain genre and then recommend like books, because there's so many books that fit into so many genres that I'd love to recommend, but like you've only so many hours in the day. So like these like kind
Yeah.
of bulk postings will
Yeah.
help a lot, to get more authors out there, because I feel like there's so many authors on the book talk community that like are not being speaked of, and then there's other
Yeah.
authors that are starting to get like more hype, and I'm so happy for them because their books are amazing. So
Yeah.
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 So but I
Currently on your TikTok account, how many followers are you sitting at now, Kay?
think I'm sitting at 79.6.
Like, honestly, like
I think it's
incredible.
crazy.
Absolutely incredible. Have you any tips on how you actually, or could even tell us like how do you feel you actually grew your account? Was it like consistent posting every day? Is it like, because the way you have the whole argument that it has to be consistent posting, you're engaging, you have to be engaging with other accounts. Like, what did
Mhm.
you find worked for you to help grow your community that you have on your book talk?
Well, I definitely think the first one, supporting each other, is a big
Yeah,
thing. Like I
massively.
just like there's obviously like Joe, I just think it's so weird with the algorithm at the moment, you know what I mean? Like there's a load of people that I follow and I interact with on a daily basis, but then sometimes like their accounts wouldn't even come up on like the follow
Yeah,
post, and it really,
yeah,
really annoyed me because like I want to support these people, like they've been so kind to me, and like it's the same thing. It's like, do you ever see those posts on TikTok? It's like if you have book, or like if you have like something of a book in your name, that you follow people, and that's what
yeah,
I'm doing. Like I'm following people and I'm like engaging with people, because like that's how you build a community. And like through that as well, I've gotten so many good recommendations of books that I wouldn't have realized that were out there. So that is
yeah.
one reason I would say engage with the community. Two, I just consistently post. So like my kind of schedule, like I post maybe once or twice a day. And
Okay.
it depends on like what way the algorithm is going for the day. I feel like you kind of know if you're starting
Yeah,
off, like if you post it and then it's like sitting at 200-300 views, you're kind of like, okay, this is not really a good day. But what I say to people is like, if your content doesn't do good starting off, you can actually delete and re-edit it and save it back into your drafts and repost
yeah,
it, because there's no point in like creating the content twice. You push it back out there again, and sometimes when you delete and repost, it will push you back out, and that could be a viral video.
yeah. And
So
that does work.
yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
you should definitely do it. And I just think then is like, for other, like this is why I was saying I want to expand on my content like a bit more. Like rather than
Hmm.
being just like one of those accounts that keeps doing like quotes and whatever,
Yeah.
do like something different, like day in my life, or like what I read in a week. Like I've done that now a few times and they've actually done good. Or books I'm
Yeah.
excited for, or the reading wrap ups, or like a book that
Yeah.
shocked me, like those type of ones that will get people like
They
engaged.
seem to be doing, I kind of find the book talk kind of like viewers are kind of wanting more vloggy style kind
Yeah,
of. They are, because I remember I done one video and it was like a vlog style, like kind of like come with me like while I go to this bookshop or whatever. And
yeah,
like it got amazing views and it got amazing engagement and it got amazing likes or whatever. Like Jesus, I think one of my videos got nearly over 5,000 views on it or whatever. And then I had put up a poll on my Instagram and I was like, guys, would you like to see more videos like that? And like I got loads of people responding yes, like, but I was still really nervous about changing up my content. And it's put me in such a creator block the last couple of weeks. And like I found it really, really hard to even sit down and read these last few weeks. I've just been so conflicted over what type of content to be putting out, what do people actually want to be reading and what are looking at, because a lot of my, say, indie author X or a lot of my say arc reads and stuff like that, they don't seem to be doing as well as other videos that I would put out that would be really popular book talk trending books. And not that I hate doing content like that, but I prefer not to be doing that all the time because I just feel like I'm generic and that I'm not really bringing anything new to the table. I'm just kind of like, I think I get worried a lot of the time that I'm just like, right, if I don't put out what they want to watch, like it's not going to get views and it's not going to get likes, where I kind of found I wasn't posting what I wanted to post in, and it's kind of made me come back a bit and be a bit more introverted, and now my posting has gone to zero. I think the algorithm change up has been so all over the place, Katie. I think it's
I will say, right? I know you're scared to jump into it, but you should start small and
yeah,
maybe do like a video, even if it's a video a month, but at least you're putting that content out there.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And it will hopefully keep you out of the, like, you can obviously stay posting with your content that you're doing already, but even if you want to kind of change it up, and then I feel like you'll get in a rhythm of it. Like,
yeah,
and that's the way you need to go, because like I feel like if you don't take a risk sometimes, like you're never gonna know, you
yeah,
know that's what I feel like you probably should do. You should just probably just put yourself out there and do the blogs, and I feel like you'd enjoy doing them, because like even in your videos that I've seen, like you look like that you'd enjoy doing. Like I watched the one where you went up to Belfast, and like, you know what I mean, it looked like such a fun time. And even like the Irish like book meetups that we do in
yeah,
Dublin, like that's another like thing that gets attraction, you know what I mean? Like I posted it and there was a load of people commenting and saying, oh, I want to get involved. And like I'm like, absolutely, here's how you can get involved, you know what I mean? Because people then are seeing that, because I even said this before, I didn't think there was as many people in the Irish book talk community
yeah. Me too.
until I started people coming up on my For You page, and I was like, oh my God, this person is Irish, you know what I mean? And I feel like it's such an Irish thing that an Irish person will cling to another Irish person. Like even when you
Yeah.
go abroad, it's just flock to each other. Like,
Yeah, because I think the TikTok scene was predominantly like English book talk influencers and American influencers, and
mm,
I think Irish book talk is only kind of on the rise now. I think it's only kind of, it's still new. I think it's still very new, like in Ireland at the minute, and I think it's only now that there's more and more people coming out of the woodwork, like in Ireland, that are actually taking book talk, like, and there's more influencers coming on the scene, and I think it's incredible because I think we need more Irish book talkers. I feel we really do anyway.
absolutely. Like there's so much space for all of us, and I feel like, we're all supportive of each other
Yeah,
here, you know what I mean? So like that's what I'm saying, there's always room for more. And I think that's what another thing that people are panicking about, that they feel like the market is like getting saturated, with like so many people posting accounts. And I'm like to people, post the account, like post that video. You never know who that video is going to reach. And
no, like,
you know
yeah,
what I
I say
mean?
that all the time as well, Katie. Like, in the space of, like, I started my account last September, and in the space of 4 or 5 months of starting that account, like, I was getting my PR, I was getting influencer spots for events and stuff, like, and I was like literally reaping what I wanted from my
Yeah.
account, like, and I only have 5,000, well, 5,500 on my TikTok, and I hit 3,000 on my Instagram, and like, they're, oh, like,
But even at
but
that,
like,
you're saying only. And I'm like, if you put 5,000 people in a room, that is a lot of
yeah,
people. So
yeah, it
you
is a lot
shouldn't
of people.
be condensing it down like that. And I feel like, a lot of people get, this is one thing I would say, a lot of people get bothered about the following and
Yeah,
whatever. But a lot of like PR companies and like authors and stuff like that, they prefer the smaller accounts, because they know that these small accounts are going to scream at the top of their lungs for the book
yes,
and stuff like that. And that is what I'm glad to see. Like, say for Hunt the Villain now, that's a new book that's coming out by Rena Kent. And I'm starting to see like a lot of books going out to creators, but it's none of these like big creators with like over like 100K, 200K. Like, I'm like, give the smaller accounts an opportunity to shine.
yeah.
And that
No,
is
I love that.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
I
I
don't
love
know.
that. I actually had been told before that, and I actually seen somebody post about this on TikTok, so that's why I'm saying it. Before anyone starts coming in the comments for me. But apparently, I have heard and seen on the book talk scene that bigger influencers are actually asking for money for reviews, and they're asking to be paid.
I literally
I didn't
just
post that video. I seen the video. I'm just relaying the information. But yeah, no
yeah,
issues.
because like I've seen that with a few authors where, especially on Threads as well, where
Yeah,
they've come out and said that
Threads is lethal.
Threads is lethal. It's actually very toxic. I just go
So
down,
toxic.
read it. Like I don't post on it. I just kind of keep up with what's going on. But I feel like asking someone for something like is just mental. You know what I mean? It's the same where like even with PR and stuff like that, you know what I mean? Like just because you have a larger following does not mean you're entitled to anything. And I feel
Yeah,
like that is how you're damaging like the reader and author kind of space. Like a lot of authors are going to pull back if they
yeah,
believe it as so. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So I just feel like that is crazy. Um, any like obviously yes, I have a big following, but anything I get, like if it's a book or anything like that, I am so beyond grateful. You know what I
same.
mean? Like I
Yeah.
literally like to be just crying when I see it, and I'm just like me, like
Yeah, yeah,
you
no,
know.
I'm the same. I never get over it, Katie. I honestly don't and I've had my fair share like of PR come in the door now since I've started, and honestly, it never. I still run down the door, and I'm still like, oh my God, look what I got. And I could, like, honestly, to somebody else, it might be nothing, but to me, it means so much. Like, it really does. It makes you feel so special, I think. And it just makes the effort and the time that you put into your content worthwhile, because I don't think people understand behind the scenes how long and how much dedication it actually takes when you're still doing all your other everyday things, like you're working, like a lot of us have children as well, like, you know, when you're doing all these things and juggling all these things and you're still making time for your content, it's so nice to actually get the PR in the door too.
Yeah, and like I want to bring back to a point that you said earlier, you know, with like Joe, you were saying that if you were like pushing out indie authors more, that you felt like that you weren't getting the attraction that it was. And
Yeah,
I feel like from my content, I've deviated from the big popular ones, like
yeah.
Joe, obviously Fourth Wing. Now, I
Yeah.
will say this, I don't get the hype of Fourth Wing. Um
Oh, that's very controversial, Katie, isn't it?
I know. I read the what is it? Is it Onyx Storm is the new one? I think I got about
Yeah.
halfway through and then I was like, I'll come back to it. But I don't know. Like I feel like I might try it again, but
Okay.
I didn't feel like it was for me. But that's my opinion. Then
Yeah.
there's people who love it, and that's fine because there's books I love that people hate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Onyx Storm wasn't my favorite now. I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't my favorite either. So I can relate to
Yeah,
that.
like I liked I didn't mind Iron Flame, and like even like the Fourth Wing wasn't too bad. Like I don't mind like a story about dragons or anything like that. But yeah, I don't know. I just felt like that was my time where I felt like fantasy was kind of like I was pulling out of it. But then I know this because I just got a copy of Cinder Vale, which is Caroline and Suzanne's new book, and I think it's out the 30th of March. And
Wow.
like again, that is fantasy, but the story is like so unique. Like it actually sucks you in. But like there is no author like I say in the fantasy world that does enemies to lovers like them, because like Zodiac Academy with Darius and Tori, that is just insane. Enemies to lovers, and they go through it for multiple books, like so, because I think the
Yeah.
original like enemies to lovers gets so lost on people where
Yeah.
they're enemies for like two chapters. No, I want them enemies for like two books, and then I want the breakdown. I want
Yeah.
the breakdown of like like I want you to absolutely rip my heart out. You know what I mean? Like
Well,
that's
Tori done that enough for us now, to be honest with you, on book
she
four, okay?
did.
Was it book 4 or 5? I think it was book 4 she done it in.
Or I got frustrated with her at a certain point, and I do understand her reasoning. I completely understand why she did it. Obviously, I'm not saying what it is
Katie,
she did,
so do I, right? But listen,
but
we love a toxic man. She could have forgiven him. She could have just like, come on,
if
like
it
she
was
could have said
me,
yes.
I would have forgiven him like a heartbeat. That
Yeah,
is my
same. I would have been on my hands and knees crawling, Darius, baby, come here. Like I would have been like, yep, let's go.
But you know what though? I prefer like I do love like Darius, but Lance, there's just something about that man.
Oh,
And like
Lance. Oh,
no, he frustrated me too in
I
books. Like
completely, yeah, I forgive the fact he's the teacher too. Like honestly, I forgive that.
like if you read the prequel like series as well, like the is it the Brutal Boys or the Rootless Boys? It's like one of them
The
because they
Rootless
do have
Boys, yeah.
the Rootless Boys because they do have a brutal series as well, which is like it actually that was their first book I read, which was so good because it
Yeah.
was set during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yeah.
So like, but
Amazing.
I read the actually. So I came into it very late. So I read Rootless Boys first. Then I went into Zodiac Academy. Someone told me it was a trilogy. So I started. I only ended on book three, and I had to wait for every release. That was torture.
That is harder. Will I start by saying maybe then like how long does it take you to read all of the, because it's a massive commitment. We'll talk about how many books or whatever, and we'll just kind
Well,
of,
because like I did start at like I read one, two, and three, and then I had to wait for each release.
yeah, okay.
So
Oh yeah,
like
yeah,
that,
yeah. Okay.
yeah, because I started it
Um,
quite early, but I found other books like to keep me occupied while it was going. And then obviously when I think it was we got to book seven, no one really knew how many books it was going to be at the time.
mm,
But I think when they introduced the novellas and then the tandem read, so you have to do 8 and 8.5, that it did turn out to be 12 books overall for like the 12 zodiac signs. But I remember at book seven, and they didn't know if they were going to like end it there or do they need to keep going. And then I think they did announce it was book eight. And then after book eight, I was halfway through it and I was like, no, we're definitely going to have another one because I didn't feel like it was wrapped up at that point. And then they were like, no, 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 it's actually going to be another one after that. But I feel like they tidied up the series very nicely.
yeah.
And if you are actually reading, so it's Never Keep, Echo Fort, and Cindervale. And there is a few little things in the book that make me believe that people from the Zodiac world are going to cross over because it's set in the universe of like Zodiac Academy, but it
Okay.
they don't like there was like I think one of the quotes was there was a statue of twins like Gemini twins and I
Oh,
was like you're not there, and I think it was confirmed on TikTok as well that I saw another creator post about it where they were like Joe Caroline and Suzanne are putting down these like hints and then they were both in the comments and they were just like they foreshadow a lot
yeah,
in their books, like they're really really good.
yeah.
um but
Can,
like,
can you can you tell who's written what in the Zodiac? Do you know the way it's written by the two of them, right?
no,
When you're
I
reading them chapters,
can't.
I can't either.
They've said it, but I
Yeah,
can't.
I
Like,
can't.
I don't know. And I feel like it's like that as well. Like, you know, with like is it Jeanette Rose? No, sorry, Alexis and Jeanette. And they write, so How I Met Them was the Maiden and the Unseen series. So that was like Hades and Persephone. I love Greek mythology, so I will read any
Oh,
retelling of a Greek mythology. Like, but obviously Hades and Persephone are a favorite. But
yeah,
so I read them, and like as I said, like they're co-authors. So I did like I knew who was writing because they said it, like who writes
yeah,
who. But it's really hard to see it, and obviously they have a new series out as well. The is it the Avalon University series?
yeah.
Like, and I've read the first book, Blood and Betrayals. So like again, like they're co-writing, but I can't tell like
Yeah,
who's
I can never
writing
tell. I
it.
can never tell any of the books that I've picked up. I've never been able to distinguish a different writing style, like a different. It's just flowed. Like they've done an
Yeah.
incredible job with that series, and I know it's such a massive commitment. There's so many books to that series, and then you have the Rootless Fae Boys, you know, the kind of off series to that as well. So
You
like, I
also
think you're
have the
thinking about
sequel.
20 something. Yeah, you're talking
Into
about 20 something books, isn't it? It's
Yeah, it's a lot. Like you don't have to
a
go on
lot.
to read Darkmoor. Like that is like how Darkmoor's story starts in the prequels because it's
Yeah.
to do with a character from the prequels and then it goes to Darkmoor Penitentiary, who you do like learn more about that in the Zodiac Academy series, which I'm not saying why you learn that, but
No
um
spoilers here, guys.
no, absolutely not. Like, because I say you have to go into the series blind. Like,
Yeah,
and I feel like a lot of people, like Joe, you're either gonna like it or you're not gonna like it. It's simple as
yeah,
you know what I mean. I know people who DNF'd to starting off and then they went back and they picked it up again. And I think you just need to be in the mindset for a commitment. I know people that stopped after book seven, which I don't know how, because like I was like, I had to wait to figure out what was going on, and you just
I
stopped
know.
after everything. So I don't know. Um, and this is one reason why I'm reluctant to go into fantasy nowadays. I don't
Okay.
like cliffhangers.
Yeah.
Like, I don't mind a cliffhanger where, like, obviously, like, the world is impending doom and
Okay.
they need to sort something out. I understand that. It's when a character's life is in the balance. I don't like
Yeah.
that. And I don't like waiting to figure out if this person is alive or not. Because, like, another series that absolutely traumatized me from, like, the plot twists and the cliffhangers was the Book of Azrael. Top tier, top
Oh.
tier series. I can't wait to see where Amber is going with this in the next few books.
Oh. I read
But
the first book.
yeah.
I read the first book. Now, I'm probably going to reread it, to be honest with you, because it's
Mm,
been so long since I did read it that if you were
mm.
to ask me what it was about right now, I'd pull a blank. That's the truth. I have to, I'd have to reread it before I read the second one, and I will, like, I will continue that series because I've seen so much hype about this. So much
So,
hype.
and I think what initially hooked me in was Diana. Like,
Mm.
she is a force to be unleashed. Like,
Oh,
you know what I mean?
absolutely.
And I think a reason, like, and this is another reason why as well, because, like, obviously, like, from watching, say, The Vampire Diaries, she reminds me so much of Catherine Pierce, like,
Oh,
an
yeah.
ultimate, like, like, she is a villain. Like, she
Yeah.
comes across starting off as a villain, you know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
think that's what, like, a lot of fantasy books don't dive into most these days, where the female character is the villain. That's why in a lot of dark romance where a female can be made out to be a villain, you know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
not even a villain, just to get revenge. Like, you know what I mean? Like, even the
Yeah.
Mindset series, that's
Oh
dark,
my
but
God,
it's a
Katie,
woman getting
literally.
revenge.
There's not enough hype about that series. I
No,
literally only discussed this with Sarah Lee like last week when I done her interview. And honestly, I was so delighted to hear her say that, and I'm so delighted to hear you say it as well. Because there is not
no,
enough about that series, and I don't see people reading it enough. You all need to pick that up and read it, and then text me so that I can yap about it because it's absolutely
literally.
incredible.
Because, like, I always say that one of my favorite parts of this book, and I don't think it's a spoiler, but if it is, you can cut it out. But one of my favorite parts of the book is when, like, she's there and she's listening in on his conversation, and they're
Yeah,
talking about the profile of, like, the killer and whatever, and they're describing, like, this 6 foot odd man who weighs like 100 pounds and whatever, and she's just sitting there and she's just like, yeah, no, it's me, but I'm obviously not going to tell you. You know what I mean? But that's what I just think is brilliant, because, like, and,
yeah,
like, that's one thing that does attract me to, like, especially like dark romance books. I want a strong female character. Like,
yeah.
and I will say I recommend this a lot on my page, but one series that where the women is just as terrifying as the men is the Brathva series by TJ Maguire. Those women
Oh,
are absolutely ruthless. Like,
okay.
oh my God, like, there's one of them and she's like a full-on assassin. Like,
Love that.
and then in the so, like, the first book is, like, obviously it's the sister, like, even her brothers are terrified of her. Like, really,
I
really,
love that.
really terrified. Like,
Mm.
the second book then is like, I think she's like, this has been a while since I read the second book, but I think she's like the head of, like, a cartel. So, like, she is the person that they're looking
Oh.
for, and he has her basically, but he doesn't know she's in charge and whatever. The third book, that this woman is absolutely lethal with a blade. Like, I just love her. Now, the third book, with it's Tatiana and Nikolai, their story, like, oh my God, broke my heart. And, like, you will cry in this book. Like, I cried several times watching it. And then the fourth book, so it does follow siblings, but the fourth book is about their dad. So their dad ends up, like, they get brought into, like, kind of like an arena where they have to, like, battle to the death, and he meets, like,
Yeah.
a woman in there, and she's just as lethal as him. And
Oh,
oh my
wow.
God. And then the final sibling only came out in December, I believe. Basically, when you're going through
Okay.
the series, the final sibling, Lucan, I probably butcher the pronunciation, but he has, like, a secret admirer throughout the entire series. And
Wow.
she, like, steps in. Like, there's a scene where, like, she has cameras, like, planted, like, around. It's like, obviously, a lot of people would read the dark romance where the
Yeah.
man would plant the cameras for the woman, but
Yeah.
basically she plants cameras and she texts him and
Wow.
she tells him like, oh, look up and look wherever, so that he's looking directly into the camera. Like,
Oh,
it's
wow.
these women are absolutely iconic, and I just love that series so much. And like that's what I'm saying about an author that is starting to come up now and get the
Yeah.
attraction and the hype. You know what I mean? Like it's just it's so good. Like I feel like there's a lot of mafia romance authors that are starting to bring in more
Yeah.
like dominant females, and I love to see it. Like
I love
you
to
know what
see
I mean?
that as well. No, I do. I absolutely love that. What do you think is the hardest part about creating content, say in the dark romance world? Like, do you kind of do you get any backlash for reading dark romance? Like, do you see a lot of that on the internet? Do you see like, would you be embarrassed to tell people that you read a lot of dark romance books because of the fear of the judgment that and the stigma that kind of comes with reading them type of books, or does it bother you?
No, like I'm not ashamed of what I read. Like at the end
Yeah,
of the day, and I always like if so on the social media, yes, I see people maybe getting backlash for reading a
yeah,
certain type of book. You know what I mean? Like, obviously the big controversy was with Haunting Adeline. You know, that was where like it started a lot of controversy.
that was
Um,
wild.
that was wild. And I feel like people took it too far. And I feel like
Mm,
so like again, at the end of the day, dark romance isn't a genre for everyone.
everyone.
Like, you
Yeah,
know what I mean? And I feel like you don't have to go too dark into the dark romance. Like there's a certain limit where you can stop. As I said, mafia romance, it can be very light or it can be very heavy.
yeah,
And that's where a lot of people would stay, like in the very light. You don't need to go into the very heavy. I do emphasize this a lot. Like there I and I understand like, trigger warnings do tell you what the book is going to be about. And if it's not your cup of tea, like there's a few books that I've like, look, it's not for me. I put it down. You know what I mean? I read
yeah,
the trigger warnings. I was like, it's not for me. I put it down. But at the end of the day, you need to take a step back. And I just don't like where, say, someone enjoyed a book and
yeah,
like even it's even not even in the dark romance community, just every genre in all of like book talk where someone didn't like a book and then someone posted a review about say either liking it and not liking it, and then there's someone
yeah,
in the comments that's like, oh, I love this but or I hated this, and I'm kind of like, reading is subjective. Not everyone's going to like the same books at the end of the day. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And I think that's a difficult kind of, you know topic that is still going on. Like, sometimes I mean, like I'm scrolling down and I see some comments and I'm like, it's free to be nice. You don't have to leave that comment on someone's post. You don't know how that person is feeling or anything like that. You
yeah.
know what I mean? And
Yeah, you only see a snippet of people's lives for like 10 seconds on a video. You've no clue what's going on behind the scenes. Like, yeah, and
yeah,
I emphasize that a lot. Like, and I do talk about that a lot because you've no idea what somebody's struggling with outside of, like, and I say this all the time. Anybody that I know on the book talk scene and
mm,
anybody that I know and I've spoken to doing these interviews and stuff, a lot of these girls struggle with anxiety and things like that and would struggle an awful lot socially. And,
mm,
like you might see us posting videos on the internet. We might look confident and we might come across that, like, we're confident people. A lot of us behind the camera aren't,
oh,
and
I'm
you can set
literally
somebody
there.
over the
I'm
edge.
terrified. So,
Yeah,
like, it's just terrifying. Obviously, you're putting yourself out there to an audience.
yeah,
It's not going to be easy, you know what I mean? And
yeah,
like there's some days I like where I'm posting a video or something like that and I'm like, will I take it down?
yeah.
Like,
So,
do I want to post it up today? And then you know what I mean? It's just like some days like where like you have to I'm like, oh, I need to put myself out there. Like even Joe, if I follow someone, you know what I mean, and I message them and I want to like, like I like say if they follow me and then I follow them back, or like I follow them and they follow me, whatever way. And like I'm actually terrified sometimes to message people because
really,
I feel like I'm bothering them. I just, it's weird. Like
I
I
know.
want to, like, obviously people want to talk to each other about books and follow each other and whatever, and like sometimes I'd be like, if you want to message someone like where like I see a post and then they're like talking about like Rex and stuff like that, and then like DM them and I'd be like, oh, I've read like this, that, and the other. This might be your cup of tea. If it's not, that's completely fine. But like sometimes I'm like terrified to do so.
I know, and I think it's horrible then when you see people like just getting hate like all the time. Like it's just You've no idea, lads. You've no idea. That could be something that sets somebody off like for the whole day. You mightn't like my views, you mightn't like my opinions, but you can be really, really diplomatic about it, and you can say it in a nice way if you feel the need to say it. But like, I'm very much of the mind frame, and maybe it's just because I'm really like, it's just the era that I grew up in. But I was always told, like, if you've nothing nice to say, don't say it at
They
all.
don't say it at all. Like I get like
You know?
again, it's subjective. Like you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You can read what you want to read. You know what I mean. Like I just and as I
Um,
said at the end of the day, I read for me.
yeah.
So like as I said, reading obviously I used it to obviously like quiet my mind with my mental health. That's how I started.
Yeah.
And
Like a
in the
lot of
evening
us.
times, I just want to switch off with my book in a
Same.
world that does not exist and
Exactly.
characters that are fictional and just enjoy the story and enjoy the heartbreak or like any the journey that I'm going on. That's what I want to do. And then, no, not to say that, like, for some of the books that I've read, I've applied it to certain, not dark romance, obviously, but
Yeah.
certain books that I've read, like, if it's like a rom com or like other bits and pieces, just the confidence of characters, like seeing their development, where they might start off as like meek and afraid to do something, and you see their journey going through the book, and
Yeah.
just like applying that, in like real life situations, putting yourself out there, being a bit more confident. Because like again, like I wouldn't have, even dreamed of like say flying to another country to meet my friend. I've also flew to Glasgow and no, sorry, Edinburgh and London to go to the two rare events. Like so
Katie, no way.
I went to
Tell me, what were they like?
Rare Edinburgh 2024. So I did go with someone from home.
Okay.
So like she lives maybe a few terraces down from me, and
Mm.
she's also very big into books. So she came with me and we went to Glasgow. I keep saying Glasgow, it's Edinburgh. We went to Edinburgh and I saw like authors that I was posting about on TikTok. Like
Oh,
it was so surreal, like that they were like, I know who you are. And I was like, what? Like,
oh my God,
it was,
stop.
and then like when I went to, so like obviously I met Penelope Douglas at Edinburgh, and I met her at um Rare London as well. I showed her my tattoo as well. So when I got for the book. And like there was a few authors as well like that I met for the first time in maybe 3 or 4 years, that like since I started posting on Book Talk, like
Yeah.
they were the kind of first ones that were coming out. They were all so nice, so approachable. I was fangirling so much. Like I have a picture with Caroline and Suzanne literally standing behind them, and I was telling them about their book. I was just like, obviously I can't say it because it's a spoiler, but there was a certain instance that happened in the book and I was like, I'm so glad you made this happen, you know what I mean? And they're like, yeah, it was good, you know what I mean? So it's just like it's just fangirling, like I
That's
loved
amazing.
it. I loved it. And obviously I went with like say people I knew, but I would do an event solo. So like I'm doing Belfast Books and Ball Gowns solo on my own.
Are you going solo? Katie, I'll be there. I'll be there.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
so
I won't be solo, so it'll be fine. But
no, you
like,
won't. I'll be there. Come and are you going to stay the night? You obviously are because you're coming from Cork. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I'll be
yeah,
there. I'll be there. So you won't be by yourself.
yeah.
We'll
Do you know
definitely have a
what?
catch up.
I was so sad that I missed it because it was so close to Rare London last year,
Yeah,
and I just figured like I can't like afford them both, like because I say it right, I went to London with 27 books and I came
yeah.
home with 44.
People don't understand that, right? You might think like, oh, these book girlies go off on their little events and their holidays and stuff. Let's even no clue how much this costs because you're bringing
So
home a 20 kg bag full of books.
But like it wasn't even that. Like I feel like pre-orders saved me obviously a lot, and I do buy maybe one or two on the day because pre-orders is like you pay for it in advance, and then when you get to the event, they're free. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So like, but like as I said, like even Joe say some of the authors, like obviously I read a lot of UK authors, and there is UK events that are on.
yep,
But like some of my favorite authors are like Australian or American, like, you know what I mean? And getting to see them then in real life is just
yeah. Are you doing any events this year? Are you going to any events this year?
I don't have anything on the cards this year, but I feel like something is going to like maybe pop up or crop up. Like I know there's a few events being hosted by Easons and like stuff like that throughout the year. So I might
Yeah.
go to like maybe one or two of them, but I don't see myself going like to the UK or anything like that for an event this year. There I was tempted to go to Rare Florence, but then I was like, oh,
Ooh.
it's just like too time consuming, like to plan it. Like at least
Yeah.
for like London and or Edinburgh is fine. But they're doing so next year I'll have Belfast Books and Ball Gowns. I'm hoping Rare London again. And
Yeah.
then they actually are looking at Rare Dublin the following year.
Following year for 28. Yeah, I'm going to
Yeah.
try and do Rare London myself next year as well. And I was hoping to maybe do Sinners and Stardust or something like that next year. I had planned on doing Spellbound in the Valley in New York in October, but just
Mm.
with everything that's going on at the minute, like it's just a bit too wild. Like, so I was like, do you know what now? We'll put a pause on this because there's so much going on, obviously, in the world. If you haven't seen what's going on, you're obviously not
Yeah.
watching the news. But there's too
Mhm.
much going on for me to be traveling to America this year. So that's going to be put on pause. Maybe next year, if things calm down, I might consider it. But other than that, I'm doing FFB After Dark at the end of March, and I'm going to
Nice.
Leeds then the start of April for PacifyCon. It's kind of like a sister event to Authors and Armours. So
Yeah.
I'll go to them and we'll see how we get on. And then obviously our Belfast Books and Ball Gowns then next year as well. That I'm really, really looking forward to because I didn't get to go to the last one. So I'm really looking forward to that.
I'm so excited. Like, I can't wait for obviously the signing, but also the ball as well. Like,
Yeah.
because I know for Rare Edinburgh they had like an after party and it was really, really nice. We met these two girls from Northern Ireland and oh my God, they were just so nice. How we literally started chatting to them in the queue when we were going
Yeah.
in
I
and
love that.
we met them again that evening and we were just chatting away, like just having such a good time. And then London didn't really have an after party, but I actually met some girls that I was friends with like through like TikTok and stuff like that. And obviously they're very big Boys of Tolman fans. And I know one of the girls was like asking me to like read out lines of the book in the accent. And I was there and I was like, is it really like, because obviously the one thing that freaks me out is the audiobook, because obviously like I'm kind of just like, oh, that doesn't sound like a Cork person. Like, I
Katie,
don't
that
know.
audio for Boys and Tommen just sent me scoreways. I was like, that's not how we talk, lads. Now, I'm obviously not from Cork, I'm from the Midlands. So I sound even more different than any of the rest of you. Like, we all have our own different accents in Ireland. And,
Mm,
the Cork accent is a very thick Cork accent, especially from
mm,
the area where Shannon and Johnny are supposed to be from.
yeah,
And like it just didn't do it for me. It really didn't. Now obviously Johnny is supposed to have a dub accent because he's from Dublin, but like
yeah.
yeah, I know it just them accents did not do it for me. Now I was actually scared. Like I was getting embarrassed listening to them. I was like, no, that's not for me.
Do you know what though? I actually do enjoy like I when I'm walking around in the city and like I go for walks like up by my
Mm.
college, my old college and stuff like that. It's very easy to spot who read the books like on those walks because like
You
going
can
around
see
you
them.
see but they'd have the books with them like in the TikToks as well, like you know what I mean. And I think it's kind of cute because
That's
you know
amazing.
it's a book, obviously a book world that I am still only a few chapters in. I put a pause on reading at the moment because I feel like I'm reading like arcs and sometimes like where I'd forget, like, if you apply for something like so far in advance, like, say, if I applied for something in like
And it comes
December that
into your
comes in
email.
March,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh my God, no. I'm literally like, I'm so happy I have this book. But
Yeah.
I forget that I apply for it sometimes. And I'm
Katie,
like,
I got an audible arc yesterday and I was like, I don't remember applying for this because I don't do audiobooks. I was like, what? I was like, what is this? I was like, what? But like, I will do it. Like, I have started to
yeah,
listen to it, but I do that all the time. I apply for these
I
arcs, and like 10 months later, you get this email, and you're like, what?
I'm
For
honestly
real?
permanent art teams as well. So like,
Yeah,
like when sometimes like that the releases would for some authors like come together, like you know what I mean.
yeah, yeah,
Um, and I feel like I do agree with some people. Like sometimes like some people would feel under pressure to do because obviously like life happens. Like Joe, if you're working, if you've kids,
yeah,
and sometimes it's hard. Like, and I think this is another thing where like that actually bugs me so much about how fast or how slow a person reads a book like
yeah.
I read, so last year I read just over 450 books. And
Wow.
people were like, how do you retain that information? How do you whatever? Like with my job, like I'd work long hours. I could work like maybe 8 to 10 hour days, or else like some periods I could be doing 12 hours. Like it varies on what season it is. But I listen to audiobooks, and then you have that whole argument where Audible isn't reading. I was like, it is. You're
It
retaining
is reading.
information. And some people like just prefer Audible because the narrators sound better. You know what I mean? Like it's just I just can't understand that whole argument. Like I'm like, if you read fast, you read slow. You should be proud of yourself for even finishing a book. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
no, like last year I read just over 100 books, and I'd say if I have read 6 books since January, like that'll tell you the slump that I'm in now at the minute. If I have read 6 books since January and I'm just not putting myself under the pressure, I think it was all the
yeah,
arc reading that I was doing, and like that, all my arcs came in at the one time, and I was so under pressure. And then I was trying to get the channel done, and sure, my ADHD took over, and I thought I was Superwoman and that I could do everything, and I clearly can't, and I crashed and I burned big time. Now I'm starting to get my mojo back. I'm starting to get back into reading. I'm actually
that's good.
after starting Dagger Mount, so I'm kind of in the middle of that. And
You
once I get that
need to
finished,
start reading it. Like I've seen the hype
no,
of it
do you know the way
everywhere.
you said earlier that you love enemies to lovers?
Oh,
This
they
is 60% in and they're still not lovers, and I don't ever like this is yeah, this is what you want to be reading. What do you think needs to improve in the Irish book talk scene? Like what do you feel we're missing? Because obviously we're such a new thing here in Ireland. The whole book talk thing is new. Like we've very little events. A book subscription is non-existent here in Ireland. Obviously we have to pay for, we have, delivery charges. Like I think we're sick of saying this now this way. But what do you think needs to improve in your opinion when it comes to Irish book talk?
I don't know. Like, I feel like what we're like, obviously, like, Irish Book Doc has been here maybe what? It's probably developed in the last year or two, give or
Yeah.
take. But,
Yep.
like, I feel like what we're starting off now is like we're building a community between us all. And I think
Yeah.
that's definitely, the main start. You know what I mean? Like, as I said, like, I was up in Dublin, like, I think about 2 weeks ago, and I actually met one of the book girlies that I met on the meetup for lunch. You know what I mean? Just a nice casual thing. And that's what I think the building of those connections, I think, is the first thing. And
Yeah.
then even at that, it's like once those connections are starting to like form, like everyone is going to be engaging with each other and kind of like, everyone's content will be starting to be pushed out a bit more. That is my hopes that
Yeah.
a lot more people will start to like come up now in Irish Book Talk. Now there is a few
Yeah.
people that are like after coming out, you know what I mean? But like I definitely like to see a lot more Irish people on my
But that's the
FYP.
key though, Katie. That you have to be engaging with other people for your content to be thrown out. You do. And you
Yeah.
absolutely do. I absolutely agree with you.
You do.
What in terms of bookshops and stuff in Ireland, what would be your favourite bookshop?
So would you believe I love chapters, but only been to it like maybe once or twice.
Okay.
And I love it. I just think they have a whole lot of range of books. Like I feel like in Cork, so we have Waterstones and we have
Yeah.
Easton's and we have Dubray and the Works. So the Works is actually literally like down in the shopping centre down the road from me. It is dangerous that
I'm
I
so
would not.
jealous.
Yeah, like it's so cheap as well. Like I think like they do a lot of like special offers as well on books. Like I get a lovely like kind of like Joe the books with like the pages in it. What's the word? I've gone blank there now. The
Sprayed
oh
edges and stuff.
there we go.
Yeah.
Sprayed edges. Like you just walk in there and then they'd have like a book of the week kind of thing, and normally sometimes
Yeah.
it's a new release and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We also have book station as well down in Cork. It's more of like a stationery place, but it does
Yeah.
have like books in like the back as well, so it
Yeah.
is. And like a lot of indie authors some of them are becoming trad published now, so it's nice to see some of their books like within the stores as well, so
Yeah.
yeah, to see
Absolutely.
them on the shelves.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I
Last
would say
question.
chapters.
Last question for you now before I do your last now next and your quick fire. What advice would you give to anybody who is wanting to start a book talk account?
Post that video.
Yeah.
Simple as. Post
I need
post
to,
it.
oh, knock the camera. I need to stop asking people that question because it's the same
Post it.
answer all the
No,
time.
but like it's like I know sometimes
Yeah.
people sit on TikTok and they're literally like post that video because you don't know where you're going to be, what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Like if I didn't start posting videos and stuff like that, like, I'm kinda like, where it kind of gave me a bit of confidence. Yes, I'm still anxious, but it's given me a bit of
Yeah.
confidence, like to travel to events, to meet up with people that I've never knew before. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So, and it's just
absolutely.
expanded the community. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So that's
absolutely.
what I'm saying. You never know what that
Make that
video is
video.
going to reach. You know what I mean? So make
Make
it.
that video, guys. Okay. Katie, I am
Oh,
going to ask you for your last now next, please.
okay, so I finished this morning, actually going up on the train at like 6 o'clock in the morning. I read Obedience by Gemma Weir.
Okay.
So this book cannot be read as a standalone. There is four books before it. It's like each one is a different couple, but this book is like kind of a follow-on from the first couple.
Okay.
Um, these men in the series, the author literally has a note to say that these men are toxic.
Okay.
It's like, don't read about it if you don't like toxic men.
Love
But
that.
it is very good. Now, do they do things that I would run in real life if a man ever did this to me? Absolutely. But like, you know what I mean? But so my book I'm reading now is Wicked Devil by Sienna Cross. That's
Okay.
an art read at the moment. It is really good. The kind of pretense of it is so it's a mafia romance basically.
Yeah.
The male main character and the female character met years ago on a trip in Italy, and basically she ended up getting pregnant, and he said he'd support her through it, and he ended up leaving. So it's kind of like a second chance romance, but like she now has come back. So she's from Belfast, so she is an
Okay.
Irish woman, and he is in New York, and basically she's come back in, but her task now is to assassinate him.
Okay.
So
And
good.
what is going to be your next read?
Cindervale. I'll read that.
Okay.
Start reading that when I go home. So
Brilliant.
yeah, I'm excited to read about that because Echo Fort did leave me on a cliffhanger, but I felt like I could have survived until then. So
Katie, I'm going to give you your quick fire questions. These are just quick fire questions, yes, no, and they're just a little bit of fun. So,
okay.
starting off, masked man or tattooed mafia man?
Mask. I got
Ooh.
mask. I blame it on
Toxic,
the
toxic but hot, right? Are we forgiving them?
no,
Okay. Would you
no,
survive your favorite MMC?
no.
Burn to the world for her or rule the world with her?
Rule the world with her.
Ooh, fated mates or enemies who actually hate each other?
Enemies who actually hate each other.
Royal court drama or war camp tension?
War camp tension.
Love that. Found
Yeah.
family or forbidden love?
Oh, I love them both. Oh, I have to go with found family. I do love forbidden
Okay.
love, but I love the whole found family aspect. So
Okay. Wings or magic tattoos?
wings.
Yeah, I'm a wings girl. Slow burn or instant soul bond?
See, this depends on my mood. I do love a good slow burn. When I say slow burn, I mean 80%. And Emily McIntyre is so good at doing the like that they do not even kiss like to 80%. I'm sure one of her books was 85% and I was
Oh,
living for
wow.
the tension.
Okay.
But yeah, so depends what mood I'm in.
Okay.
But
But, yeah, okay. Are shadow daddies overrated?
yes.
Jesus Christ.
No, like
Okay.
I don't know. Like I feel like oh
That's okay.
now
That's your opinion. That's your opinion.
yes and no because I feel like in Blood and Betrayals I'm obsessed with a shadow man. So I'm kind of like yes or no, yes or no. But then I love Dorian and his shadow hands, so I'm just kind of like
Yeah. Yeah. That's okay. Katie, thank you so much for joining me on Books on Book Talk. I really loved having you on. You've been such a help. Thank you so much. I
thank
really
you so
appreciate it.
much for having me. I
Thank
had
you.
literally a great time.